We had to sell our only homegrown at club player, and here's why. But we did get a lot of money for him, and we did reinvest that money quite well. So it's not that bad, but I would have preferred to keep him. Hey guys, and welcome back to the 37th episode of the FM23 West Brom Save, where today we are starting the final season of the save as we verse Wolves away from home in the first game of the Premier League, and we are going to go over every single transfer that we have done since last time we saw each other. So just one game today, could be a shorter episode, but we have made a couple of transfers, and I know that's what you're going to want to know about, and that is fair enough. I want to know about them too. But first, before we do that, for the end of this save, for the last season, can we please smash the like button as well as subscribing to the Rex FM YouTube channel if you have made it to this point in the series. I'm sure you don't mind me too much. Surely click that subscribe button, as well as please, can we please smash, let's go 8 likes on today's video. I'm not going to give like targets very often anymore because I know it's probably fizzled out in terms of interest, but we are given a like target today. Let's hope we can smash it. And let's jump into the transfers that we've made since last time we saw each other. You know how much I love a transfer. I have made some. Of course I have. The only sale that we made last season was Josh Griffiths. Actually, our only other homegrown at club player. I forgot about him. But he was never really at the level we needed. Sold him for £5 million. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's not a bad deal for us, not a bad deal for Watford. So happy to get him off the books. But then we brought in 2 youngsters. Well, actually we brought in 3 youngsters, but one of them was just, one of those youth players you sign on a free. This youngster, Brom, I've already talked to you about. Very, very good central attacking midfielder, right winger. Already worth £100 million. Brought him in for 14. And we brought in Jonathan Tamang, who was a striker, who again is already worth like £50 million, and we bought him in for £15 million. That is all the signings that we made last season. As you can see, we made 2 here. If you recognise some of those names, shout out to you. If you don't, you have to be patient and work out who they are, because we're going over the sales first. Silas has left the club. A man that we brought in for £7.25 million has left for 28.5 after playing him quite a lot of games in the Premier League, and then loaning him out to Bayer Leverkusen and selling him to them this season. Very happy with that. Kingsley Coman has left the club for £1.8 million. And what I teased with, Andrew Hall. And I didn't really want to sell him. He had a really, really good season on loan at Benfica. 15 goals, 11 assists, and a grand total of 26 goal contributions in 27 appearances. A very, very good year for him. And I know that his stats have improved. He's looking like a well-rounded player. 22 years of age, coming into his actual, sort of like pinnacle of being a youngster, if you know what I mean. Now got a worldwide reputation. But he comes to me and he says, look, my contract's expiring and I'm not interested in renegotiating. And in that moment, I knew I was going to have to sell him. So I listed him up. I ended up getting some bids of around £40 million, but I got one for £80 million, and it wasn't from Tottenham. I want to say it was from Hoffenheim, but eventually Tottenham came around, bid at 80 as well, and I accepted it, and now he's there. Hopefully he doesn't do a job against us, but I wouldn't be surprised with those stats if he does a half-decent job against us. Giller has also left the club. Another player that we made a profit on after loaning out a couple of times. So £20 million, only £2 million there, but not going to complain too much. De Valdez has gone out on loan. I mean, I don't know why I'm loaning out people for the last season, but it feels realistic to me. Torreira is a player that we brought in a couple of years ago for £6 million. Loaned him out multiple times, played pretty well on every single one of his loans, but I don't think he's going to turn into that good of a player. Like, I think he'll be fine for this team, and I think £30 million is probably a decent fee to pay, but that first touch is never going to not bother me. 9 first touch, it's not good enough. 21 years of age, he's been sold and cashed in on. Another player that we've cashed in on, who I actually would argue looks better than Torreira, is Simone, who we brought in for, again, a very cheap fee of 7.25, doubled that by selling him for 14, and I think I only sold him because his potential was not there anymore, apparently. I do kind of back him to turn into a half-decent player with the stats that he has, but we'll have to wait and see. Palud has gone out on loan again. Again, I don't know why I'm loaning out players, but I am. Got rid of Sudakov for £5 million. A bit annoyed to have actually lost a little bit of money on him. And the last sale ended up being a loan out for Reyes, and then we sold a player on a free. So, not too bad. But 2 signings coming in. And not the only signings I want to confirm, but we do have a very good team. So I'm not surprised that we've only brought in a couple of players. But this one was just sort of a no-brainer to me. He came in for only £40 million. Look at the stats that he's got. Look at his current stats last season. 7 goals, 4 assists, 7.1 rating. I don't know how we picked him up for that cheap. But he's a world-class midfielder, a model citizen, got a worldwide reputation. And his stats are all yellow or green, aside from long throws. And he can play cam, right wing, central midfield. I think he's an elite player. And it is João Veloso, we're calling him. João Veloso. And I think as a Portuguese, 24 years of age man, he's going to be a star player for us. Paying him a lot of money to be here, but I think he deserves it. And I hope he's going to be a star for us. But a player that could arguably be an even bigger star for us is Cassidy. I hope that I'm saying that correctly. Let me know down in the comment section below if I'm saying it incorrectly. But Cassidy is how I'm going to say it for now. And he does look very good too. £70 million is a little bit more than I'd usually like to spend on a player like this. But he's got the ability. He's got the experience playing at a decent level, scoring goals, getting assists. And again, his stats are just so well-rounded. Able to play as a CDM and a central midfielder. And he's kind of given me a bit of a headache in terms of, these 2 signings have kind of given me a bit of a headache in terms of what formation I want to play, because they were so good and we didn't really have anyone else popping up that I wanted too desperately. There's Pedro Porro, who I'm hoping to finalise in the coming days, £45 million right back, but obviously you're going to have right backs regardless. I've got a centre back that I was keeping an eye on, got a midfielder that I was keeping an eye on. Another Brazilian wonderkid, and this young English striker that I've kept an eye on, but we don't really need a striker. I've got Stevenson, who was almost leaving the club for a lot of money. We actually had bids up to about £150 million for them, man. I'm trying to find him now, actually. Stevenson, there he is. Trying to pick him up for a very expensive fee, but I kind of thought I couldn't see anyone that I wanted to pick up instead of him with that money for a like-for-like replacement. So I was like, maybe I'll just keep him around. So I have done. I've decided, I think the diamond is the way to go this season. And it might not work. Hey, it absolutely might not work. It might end up being that after a couple of games we realise we're going to have to go back to this, move Stevenson out to the wing, Trabelsi up top, or even bring like Rain or a Gakpo into the equation. But I think this is the way I want to give it a crack. As you guys know, we bottled it at the end of last season. The tactic just was not working. And we definitely didn't play well in the later stages of the competitions. But this season, we've played it the entire time during the pre-season. Lost to Man City, yes. Beat Real Madrid, though. 4-5 result against PSG. Smashing other teams, but losing to one team in pretty horrific fashion. But, I feel like it's doing a job. I'm going to give it a crack. Why not? And this is the team that we're going with for it. Lots of new faces. Well, 2 new faces, but lots of new faces. Not that many new faces. It is literally just those 2. But they're making it into the starting lineup straight away. Veloso and I'm going to have to learn how to say this, Cassidy coming into the lineup with so many players having to be dropped to the bench. Almada, Reina, Gallagher, Ryder, all fighting for spots. Now I think definitely going to be solid bench players for us. Ryder, obviously been here for years, a very solid player. Gallagher in the same boat. Almada in the same boat. Reina never really stamping his place onto the first team after playing all right last year. But that left wing was always a problem recently. That right wing was a bit of a problem too. Kulusevski might play his best football in the cam position with all of those beautiful stats that we can see. I'm hoping this works. I'm not guaranteeing it will work, but I'm hoping it will work. In terms of the latest stage transfers we're trying to make, Mudryk I wouldn't mind selling, but I'm not too desperate because I think he will be a good rotation option for us. Madueke will be leaving at the end of the season, so I want to cash in if I can. We're going to try and get rid of Baggies as well, just because I don't think he's going to be playing a lot of games and he's worth a whole lot of money, so potentially a big name signing if we sell him. And that's probably about it in terms of transfers. So once that right back comes in, once Pedro Porro comes in, Hickey will be out, and I think that our team will be absolutely solid in every single position. Not that Hickey's been bad, I just think with this formation, having slightly more attacking minded left back and right backs like Udogie, like Pedro Porro, will be the way to go. But I've talked enough. You've completely caught up on what has happened. Let's jump into the first game of the season and let's try this new formation. The beauty of it though is, as I said, like if it's not working, the players that we have work very well to move back into the formation that we know does a job most of the time. And even in this game, if it doesn't end up starting very well, we can dip into that 4-3-3 once again. But if you look at the team, we know the players that are regions. We know the players that are real. They're all pretty high quality. So I do kind of back us to do a decent job this season. We're predicted to finish 6th. I really do want to begin my hand on the title once again. After dropping those points late in the season last year, you want to see us winning now. And it is clearly a bit of a dominant performance for us so far in this first half. 5 shots, 5 on target. I think 2 strikers could be a really good option for us, because obviously Trabelsi and Stevenson both playing elite at different points in time and never quite lining up in the same way because of the fact they both play in the same position. But having them both together might be able to let them play off each other, get some assists for each other, get some goals together, but that's certainly not going to be happening if we're letting Guedes through there. Luckily for us, his shot is blocked and it goes massively over the bar, and the corner comes in, headed out quickly, nothing too worrying to talk about. But also Kulusevski, not playing to the best of his ability last year. I feel like putting him in the central spot might do a world of good for him as well. So lots of reasons why we made this change, and actually they've hit the woodwork there. But I'm hoping that we can still have some opportunities as this game goes on. And Stevenson runs down the wing, plays it into Veloso. Maybe the chance isn't over. Trabelsi tries to get his noggin onto that. They have to clear it out. A corner kick could be coming our way if we get to see the highlight. We are going to get to see it. And it is Veloso standing over it on his debut. Puts it in, Trabelsi far post. Can't really get onto it. Luis tracks back and collects it. But that is the end of the highlight. And the positive mentality, I think, has got to be the way to go for this kind of a shape. Maybe dipping down to a shorter passing might be the way to go, actually. I am going to give that a crack, actually, because we do sort of have the players that require shorter passing, and we do have the formation that requires shorter passing. So, yeah, no, I think that's definitely the way to go. Maybe I should have tweaked that a bit more during pre-season, but here is Stevenson. He's got to finish that. He has got to finish that. He takes the first touch, and he shouldn't have. He just needs to tap that home. Veloso nearly with a goal there. Oh, that's a guilty miss there from him. I count that as a miss. Even though he's only taken a touch, and you know that he's shooting next touch, he's got to take the shot straight away, and that should be a goal. But we are still on the ball. We're still on the front foot. It's Stevenson running down that left-hand side, trying to find a pass. Finds Eder Luis. Luis with the shot. It comes into Trabelsi. I don't think there's a problem with that. It could be marginally off. I think he just stayed on. Luis certainly was going for the shot there. Trabelsi stays onside, and that's the first goal of the season, and that shows that this formation just might work. Stevenson, Luis, he's lining that up, but Trabelsi knows that if he gets a key touch onto that, it's going straight past the already diving goalkeeper, and it does exactly that. It's 1-0 to us, and I'm pretty content with that so far. But I'm actually realising complete wingbacks is potentially the way to go. I mean, we have, maybe not for Hickey, but when we have Pedro Porro, I think it might be the way to go, because, if we get the analysis sheet on, I imagine we're not going to have a whole lot of possession down that wing side. And I still do like whipping in those balls. I'm not going to tell them to work the ball into the box just yet. I mean, maybe later in the season. But that short passing clearly is the better of the two ideas. And this might give Udogie a bit more of a chance to roam forward, get those balls into the box, and potentially create some goal-scoring opportunities, as I know his stats suggest he can. And hopefully he does do exactly that in the second half as we give him a crack. But Kulusevski's picking up a knock. Not what we want to be seeing early on in this season. And we're going to have to bring on... I am going to bring on Almada. He's lacking match sharpness, but I think that's because he just wasn't played in pre-season for some reason. Also going to bring Williams on. Oh no, Hickey's playing a really high rating, so maybe let's get Garcia on. Bring Guehi into the squad. Garcia off and bring Guehi into the squad. See how it goes for the last 25 minutes. Obviously, things going comfortably okay for us now, but could potentially switch up at any point in time. They could get one on the counter-attack. They could get one from a corner. Let's make sure that that doesn't happen by securing the win with the second goal here. If we can win the ball back, it is Udogie trying to get his foot in there. But you see, he tracks back into that left-back spot, and I feel like that could work really well for him. Hopefully it doesn't leave us too exposed at the back. I feel like he was offside there. Lafont gathers very calmly, though, and the highlight continues on. That's what we want to be seeing. Lafont looking for a long hit there. He's got Stevenson and Trabelsi to aim at now, and it does end up knocking down for one of our players. Trabelsi, Stevenson, and he finishes it. And again, I don't think there's a problem with that, and that could be the kind of goal that we could see a lot this season. Those two linking up, one of them running more than the other one. There we go, it is onside. And the other one just putting a beautiful ball through. Look at this. It's beautifully weighted. That man, I imagine it's Almada. Yes, I think probably was a smidgen offside. But Stevenson's staying well onside. Almada runs away from it knowing that he's offside. And he finishes his dinner very well to make it 2-0. And probably a first win of the season. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. Ryder's going to come on. I might even get Gakpo on for Stevenson looking a bit more tired. Gakpo's got to be a rotation striker for us now with no left wing position. And we've just given him a new contract because of his good performances so far. And I did want to bring down his wage because he had a clause to be the match highest earner in the club. And yeah, over time, he's not really deserved that same wage that we have been giving some of the more elite players at the club. So yeah, no, happy to get him back down to about 200k, and there he is, coming off the bench, scoring a goal with one of his first touches, I imagine, and that's why he's there as an impact sub. I imagine the complete forward role works really well for him, being the taller of the two players, a taller player, having some hidden ability, but also having that experience on the wing, passing the ball, dribbling past players. Yeah, no, I think that role will work really well for him, and if Stevenson isn't on form, yeah, I think he's going to be getting some nods into the starting lineup. Veloso not playing insanely well on his debut, but doing enough to get a 7.0 rating. You wouldn't be too disappointed about that. And of course, a 3-0 win, clean sheet, all the things that you want to see in the first game of the season away from home. I don't think we can complain too much about that. Ida Luis with 2 assists, Trabelsi with 1, Trabelsi with 1 goal, Stevenson and Gakpo with another goal. It's a well-rounded performance. It is a good performance, and it's a win that we needed to start us off. And I am very happy with that tactic. I mean, there is every chance I will come back in probably about 10 games time at the start of the Champions League season, and that formation will have completely shanked it, and nothing will be going well for us. But there is just as much of a chance that it will be going incredibly well. And I've discovered a new formation that I can add to my Football Manager arsenal. Because if you have watched me in Football Manager, you know the 4-3-3 is my go-to. So let's give it a crack for now. Experiment with something different. And hope that Kulusevski injury is not too long, 4 to 8 days. So thank you guys so much for watching this one. If you have enjoyed it for the first episode of the last season, please subscribe, please like, and I'll see you all later.